Alright.
We're good?
Yeah.
Alright. What's up, guys? BlaneyTalks here with RichLake. This is the first episode of BlaneyTalks with a guest.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah.
On the inaugural episode.
Of course. Rich, I want to talk to you a little bit about why I started this and why I'm continuing to do it. And we're going to dive deep quick in the sense that the inspiration from this comes from an intense place of my life. I don't want to say intense. Maybe just a place of my life that not a lot of people know about. But maybe we'll get deeper into it. But basically, there was a period in my life whenever I was a little bit younger, ages, 18, 19, 20, whenever I was going through something, mentally. And for some reason, even to this day, there's a little bit of it there. But I felt very alone throughout all of that. And so I think if I would have seen something along the lines of what I'm trying to create here, and hopefully you can be a part of and encourage it, but if I saw something like that whenever I was that age, I think it might have given me a little more hope. It might have given me eased my soul a little bit, trying to move forward, because during that time it felt like I was distant from everyone, didn't really have
like someone to relate to.
Right. The experiences I was experiencing, I felt like distant and alienated is a good word. But yeah, and so that's where the inspiration comes from. Episode 1 feels good to be here. So let me I have a few things that we want to branch out from. We don't necessarily have to stick to them, but I'd like you to introduce yourself, who you are, what you're about, and we'll go from there.
My name is Ricky. I go by RichLake in the musical sense, I guess. But yeah, I'm a musician. I work a job in QA, working on video game testing and stuff. Really into video games, really into music. I'm a good friend of Blaine here, and the stuff that he talks about wanting to start this show for resonates with me for sure. And I'm excited to be on here and talk about the gambit of topics. It could be lighthearted or deep stuff or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, with what you were saying about not having that, I feel like growing up there was a few people on YouTube who I watched, this guy Woody's Gamer Tag had Mail Monday, and Ludwig's talked about that being inspiring. Basically, he would answer questions from either it'd be adults figuring out their career in money problems, or it'd be young kids how do I ask this girl out or something. So
yeah.
I don't know, it was just interesting. It was kind of almost a pseudo father figure thing, because I had divorced growing up and I had a stepdad, and I was really close with him, but there's still it's not the same maybe
right.
So I feel all stuff like that is it's good, and I feel just being someone who talks honestly, because a lot of social media is people are only showing the best, or they're kind of being a character, and I think stuff like that's good, or funny content, comedic stuff, but I think this can be all of that,
right,
and still be that helpful thing you want it to be.
Right, 100%. It could develop into multiple things. It could be, and I'm sure there were funny moments, like you're saying. He's reading these messages from grown men asking how to quit their job, and then he's reading shit from an 8th grader, how do I ask her out? I'm literally freaking out. But in those times, you literally, I feel like you literally can be so overwhelmed in those moments. Whenever you're in 8th grade and you're asking that girl out, it feels like the end of the world. If she said no, or
every moment in your life just feels this is it. This is the big bad thing that's gonna happen, and I'm screwed.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's just as you go through everything, it's there's peaks and valleys, and that's the peaks and valleys way of viewing things is something that has really changed my life. And just thinking about how there wouldn't be a good moment if you didn't have like the rough times to kind of compare it to. Like, you know, people who have everything, like, they can like struggle as well, you know. There's more nuance to like
100%
how that stuff works.
And what do you mean by everything? What do you think everything is? You said people that have everything.
Well, it's like, I'd say I meant that in like a money.
Right, money, lots of money.
Like, people think, oh, like this rich guy,
he doesn't have
like, he doesn't have those like stresses that like the majority of people have to deal with, like bills and like money and rent or whatever.
Right.
But, you know, you see like a lot of like rich people like go down like the deep end, or like with addiction or whatever it may be. So
yeah,
everyone has their struggles.
That's an interesting concept. I think at one point, I forget where I was, but I had a conversation with someone. I think I was at camp or something in high school, and I forget if he said it or I said it, but pain is relative.
Yeah, exactly.
So like
100%.
What that spoiled 21-year-old girl felt whenever, you know, you could put it to extremes. Okay, what this 21-year-old spoiled bratty rich kid felt whenever she didn't get her pink Lamborghini felt, you know, like how she felt in that moment could be related to something as bad as like someone not being able to,
if you haven't had
like,
any struggle in your life or whatever, like
that moment,
like things that to some people would be seen as like how could you fucking be mad about that?
Right.
Like, to them it feels like so bad because they haven't experienced like certain lows. You know, like I've had like hard moments in my life, but like there's people around the world who just, like, my hardest point is like a good day for them, you know, like like living in poverty or like in war torn places like in the Middle East, like, like Gaza's just getting like destroyed right now, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, like you said, pain is relative.
Right. Like you can't feel bad about not having those negative experiences and still feeling
you can't
negative, because
like,
I think at one point in my life I was like, fuck, I'm going through all this shit, but like, look at me, I'm whining over here, but I'm literally in college, I have a car, I have you know, I have a decent job. Like, why am I whining whenever there's people starving, whenever there's people dying? And I think you really can't have that mindset. You know, they say, you know, I mean, everyone's heard it, but don't waste any food. You know, there's starving kids in Africa. That kind of thing is like, that is instilled into you at a young age, you know, and it's like, you should feel like what you're going, like, fuck. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. Wait, let me check the camera.
Check the camera, bro. Hey, cut that shit.
Cut that shit. Oh, it's still going. Fuck.
It's still going. Oh my god.
Acorns. Bro.
Acorn. Get out.
What?
Like that cop. Remember the cop? Like the acorn fell in the car and he like started shooting.
What?
You haven't heard about this guy?
Okay. This guy's making shit up.
I'll pull it up, bro. Give me this shit dead.
What do you mean? Okay, anyways. Alright,
talking about the starving kids in Africa.
Okay, yeah. Starving kids in Africa.
Why are you laughing about that?
That's
hey,
not,
cut that shit out.
What? Cut. Was not there. Yeah, so pain is relative.
Yeah.
And there's no way to, like, you shouldn't feel bad about what you're going through. Because I think that's what we default to a lot. Is like, I feel bad that I'm going through something. Which is like such a horrible feeling, because now you're just feeling double
it's just
bad.
A loop.
Yeah.
It's a loop.
But yeah. So I think I'm gonna move on and try to get us into another topic, which is something I have a lot of respect for you about, which is your creativity. And I want to talk to you as a, you know, young individual, as someone, you know, early 20s, growing up. It seems like it's important to be creative to you.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think, like, where does your creativity come from? I just want you to talk about it.
So, I mean, I think I've always been like creative. I wouldn't say like visual arts are my strong suit. Like, I haven't been good at like painting or like drawing or whatever. I'm kind of like messy, but I've like learned to like admire that about myself, like in that sense. But when it comes to music, I think that's like where it really like blossomed my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I was 15 or 16 I started, but I've always had like a passion for it, like growing up, like listening to like Lil Wayne and stuff, like I was really young, or like even like Biggie, like when I was like before I could even remember, like my parents like tell me stories, like I was like singing stuff like on an airplane one time or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I've always like loved music, and like, you know, I think everyone can relate to like getting that feeling, like when you hear a certain song or like a certain melody, like it's just like there's nothing like it. Like it's almost like euphoric, like it's like the only thing like you can compare to is like something sexual, you know? It's it's like, oh my god, it's like eargasm.
Well,
eargasm
maybe that is just a you thing, you know?
Definitely not.
Well, I'm saying like maybe that's where your creativity comes from.
Yeah, I mean that's
not
definitely
in a negative
like,
sense. Like
it's like same with movies. Movies for some people, right? Like when I see certain stuff in movies, like certain performances or like cinematography, like I get that same feeling.
Right,
like, oh my god,
wow,
like,
this is
it's like
beautifully
climax
made.
is perfect. Like I mean, think about it. Like a story has a climax, a song has a climax, sexual activity has a climax or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's
100%.
There's like these. That's like something I would just compare it to.
Do you have a song that in mind? Like, because I have one because
that's hard. I mean,
I remember.
What do you have in mind?
This is gonna be funny. Agony by Young Lean. I remember I was in like this in this state, in this mindset, this manic state. I'll just say that, you know, where I was just kind of going through a lot, and that's where things tend to go for me. Things get like can flip on their head. I don't know if there's some sort of bipolar in there or something, but I remember posting on my story, I was like, whenever I listen to this song, it feels like literal fucking rainbows in my head. And it was Agony by Young Lean, and that song used to do that for me, not so much anymore. Whenever I listen to it now, I'm just kind of like, I just think about that moment because it felt like such a moment whenever I was experiencing it, listening to that song, but not so much anymore. Maybe that's because I need to find a new song. But maybe that's because I don't know. I
feel like you can always find like a grain of it in like any song like that you like, I guess. But but with the music thing, I mean, so when I was 16 started, it was kind of just for fun, you know, like I was just like being silly with it, like
it might have just cut. Sorry.
No, you're good. I know where I'm at. You got battery on that thing?
Yeah, I got battery.
Good ear, good ear. I heard it too.
Good. That's all we gotta do for live.
Alright. So started when I was 16. It was kind of just for fun, like, you know, like doing like silly diss tracks to like friends. Like that was honestly some of the first stuff I did, and I was like on an Xbox mic. And it was just kind of, you know, like the lowest common denominator, like rap stuff, like inspired by the times, I guess.
100%.
But you know, as I kept being able to translate what's in my mind to like the song, because that's like a thing, right? You can imagine the most beautiful painting in the world, but you have to be able to execute it. And that's kind of like what I think getting better at something is. It's kind of like just closing that gap, being to where you can just like instantly like just put exactly what you're thinking down onto the thing.
That's
so
really awesome.
And as I'm still like, I feel like that's the creative struggle, is just like fighting that every day.
Trying to close that gap,
and then like inspiration and like what you're gonna make, and coming up with the idea is part one, and then executing it. So I mean, and now I'm 24, so I'm like 8 years in, and like I think like I'm happy with what I'm making, but like I still see so much like in the future, and like I'm very like I'm not that great at like promotion, so I just like focus a lot on like what I'm making, and I don't release a lot, so like it could be viewed as lazy, but like I'm kind of always waiting for that next thing to like latch onto, because and like you were saying, like in that manic state when that song meant so much to you, like in some of my like hardest moments, like right after like a breakup, for example, it's like I literally made a song like right then and there, and like it was such an outlet, and it was almost that same feeling of like that climax of like, but it was emotion. It wasn't the best emotion, but expressing it felt good, you know what I mean? And it led to creative breakthroughs, and like so sometimes you need like stuff to write about or stuff to make about,
stuff to create. And
this is like one of those, like this podcast is that, but in a certain form. And like I love watching podcasts and stuff, and I love movies, so like
seeing
movies and content are like things that I want to delve into as well.
100%. And kind of making a full circle here, in those moments whenever you're alone and creativity, how do those relate in a sense? Like you're having all these big emotions, and you're kind of like feeling lost, and how important is it to have a creative outlet, you know, in your eyes?
Well, if you think about like a diary, people will write about their like what's going on, and like they can read over it and kind of like think about it and process it, I guess. So like, for example, I literally had a phone call where I had broken up with someone I was in a very long relationship with, and like I made a song like right after, and like it was very like related to it, but it was kind of like had this positive spin on it, and that allowed, and I don't know, like, because with the circumstances, it wasn't like unexpected, it wasn't like that crushing necessarily, but it was still like huge emotion.
Right.
Thinking about
in that moment,
everything.
it was the biggest pain you could possibly
when I
feel.
expressed it was kind of like, imagine like writing something down and then like listening to it over and over. It's like damn, like
you understand
some of the things I said were so deep without even me knowing what I was saying. Like I was just saying shit to rhyme or saying shit for it to sound good in the song. But then you look back, it's like, damn, this shit meant so much more than I even realized.
Yeah.
Like so many lines do that.
That's crazy.
Like it's like the same way that you look at like, oh, I wonder if like Kendrick Lamar meant this when he said that crazy quintuple entendre. It's like maybe not, but like regardless, like when you're reading a poem, everyone has their interpretation. Like that's like the beauty of it.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to mean one thing, and like it could apply to a million scenarios.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I think that's like allows for the release.
That's really smart. I think that's really smart. Like,
because
I felt
like
that
when things
same
are going
way.
too good, it's like, damn, like
sometimes
you don't have stuff to write about. Like
100%.
Like, sometimes like,
but you could
adversity gives like leads to the like the best product. You know.
I agree because I think we had a conversation about this the other day. Maybe we didn't, but creativity comes from a place like good art comes from intense emotions, intense feelings. You know.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah, we've been live.
Oh,
17 minutes in.
That's nothing.
I feel like it's been like longer than that.
Is that good or bad?
I think it's good.
But do you
I feel like we got some good messages in.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I still have a bunch of topics I want to go over.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Like, to make this all full circle, I feel like that was a very good like podcast.
Yeah. Because I feel like we're building on that original topic and just
we're just letting it like lead us. I feel like the best podcasts are when like you're like, damn, we didn't even get through any of the topics. That's like when it was the best. But I want to hear more of the topics though.
Well, that inspiration one is definitely one of them.
Yeah,
and I think what you said just now probably reached someone out there, and I definitely relate to it in the sense that you look back on those things and you're like, fuck me.
Is this going on the BlaneyTalks channel?
Yeah.
Subscribe to BlaneyTalks. I saw the last video had like 74 views. Get that to 100 and get this to 100 views. If it gets 20 likes, you will have who on next episode?
Ooh.
20 likes.
20 likes. 20 likes.
Smash that
and
like.
We'll bring on
like.
Anthony.
Anthony.
Young Anthony.
Yeah.
Good friend of both of ours. Great human.
Let him yap.
Not the
biggest yapper, honestly.
Not the biggest yapper, so it'd be
I'm excited to see what he has to say.
Right. That's
Bro's he's gonna think he's like saying the coldest shit. He's like, sometimes like it just is like that.
You're a hater.
No, I mean,
where's that coming from? Bro's just hating. Well, that has to be from a place of insecurity.
Nah. See this? Come on, man.
All right. Not to pick you apart and destroy you on live television.
You're way more susceptible to that. You're way more susceptible. Come on.
Chill. Relax. Lock in. We could cut it.
We're so locked.
Cut it. Move on.
Ask me more questions.
Yeah.
Or bring up some topics.
I need more caffeine. But yeah, I want to get back to what you were saying about creativity and like you look back on that outlet. I had a very similar experience where I used to like fucking draw a lot, and you go back and look at those fucking drawings that, and, like in the moment I was like, this is just like whatever, and I'm just like kind of
it's a conduit who's doing it. You know what I mean?
Conduit.
It's like if someone like and the people wrote the Gospels, it was like God like writing through them or whatever. That's like the conduit. It's like something else is taking over.
Right.
In the creative process, like that happens. Like that's what my grandmother, who's like makes art and sells it like paintings and stuff.
That's what she says.
She does like gallery. Yeah, she's like, it's a conduit. Like she's doing some super dark abstract shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Grandma, where's this shit coming from? You know? But it's like
good.
It's so
it's
amazing.
Good, though.
It's like right up my alley too because I like really like weird visual art. Like Like
Yeah.
I like abstract stuff. I like surreal stuff.
Surrealism, I
Yeah.
think.
And hers is very, very much that.
And so, yeah.
But yeah, you
Whenever
were
I was-
saying, like, when you were drawing.
Yeah, whenever I was drawing, like I was like, there's no association here. I'm just doodling in class to buy time. And then I go back like right now and go look at that book, and like I'll show my girlfriend or whatever, and we'll be flipping through the pages, and I'm just like, what the fuck was going in my mind? She probably thinks I'm a murderer, and she's texting her friends to come pick her up right now. You know?
I got that too, man.
No,
I'm kidding.
it's not.
No, but yeah, it's like dark. Like there can be dark shit that's expressed. Like
I think
that.
darkness, like the darkness is the easiest to tap into though, for some reason, because it's such an overpowering emotion. Like we talk about how
I feel like with men too, especially, it can be like that. Like
because you gotta suppress it.
yeah,
You know, and we've talked about how emotion makes good art, like something you're actually feeling. Like if you're rapping about something that, you know, cap rap or something like that, it could be fun, but like if you're rapping about something that you've gone through, like what you were saying,
it just hits different.
it hits different. And I, for some reason, I think the sadness, the darkness, because it's such an overpowering feeling, and because you feel like, oh, I need to express this, I need to get this out, it comes out a lot more, you know.
Yeah.
And whenever you're being creative, you know, because I feel like that's whenever I am the most creative. But yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up something else. Oh, I got one for you. So, recently, was listening to one of your songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the lyrics are something along the lines of, it feels like I'm a intruder in my own home.
Yeah.
They gonna hear this, and they're not gonna ask what it's about.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So the intruder part, I would just say like, I don't know, like sometimes, especially like living with roommates and stuff, I just feel like just like a burden, like not a burden. I don't know, you know, you just feel like you're bringing others down. I don't know. I feel like it's a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it be like some people feel like that like on their family maybe, like or on their parents. It's kind of just like feeling like you wish you could just kind of not, like that no one was responsible for you, if that makes sense.
Like you weren't affecting anyone.
Yeah, I just wish I could like not, like y'all wouldn't have to worry about me, like if there was like whatever it may be, like, you know, like sometimes you just want to like not be a burden on anyone, and even if you're not a burden, you can just like just feel like that, and I feel like that's normal.
Yeah.
And then the part about people not asking or about lyrics, I mean, I guess I can mean a couple things. One, like people don't like not listening to the lyrics of songs, like, or not like thinking about like what the person's saying. And then two, like cry for help kind of thing, like, oh, this guy's saying he's struggling, or like people use humor. I'm someone who like uses humor a lot, but then on the real note, like you kind of do wish people would ask more, and I think that's like a problem with like guy friend groups or whatever. It's just like people not seriously being like, yo, are you actually okay? Like what's, you know, like is this, like what's going on? So I think being able to like talk about that is important. So I just want to like push for people to do that.
100%. And I
like
think,
you know, apply some pressure on like my friends, like because I try to be there for people, so you know you want your friends to be there for you too.
I think because it's so taboo, because it's such a, it can feel so overwhelming whenever you try to tap into that emotional side, you know. Specifically, we could say as a man, not that this is some,
it's not specific though,
right,
because a lot of people like don't like, a lot of people are having others like trauma and emotions expressed on them, and they're like they're victims of that, and so like they don't have anyone to express the problems that's causing them to, you know, like, does that make sense?
I think so. I think,
like, let's say you're in like you have like abusive parents or something, right?
Okay.
And it's like, who are you gonna go to? Like your parent, like your like your parents are supposed to be there for you, are the ones making you fucking tweak.
Yeah.
Or like if your friends are being mean to you, or if your significant other's being mean to you.
Yeah.
The person that's supposed to be in that upper echelon of like people that you can like rely on for like your hardest times, or like, you know, because you don't want to like trauma dump, as the people say now.
Right.
We're all in favor of that.
No.
But like, if the person that you're supposed to rely on to like be there for you is like you can't rely on them, then it's like you won't have someone to express that to.
Right.
So it can come out in negative ways, whether you're a guy or a girl or like whatever the situation is.
100%. And yeah, being able to talk to your friends about what you're going through is super important. I think it's part of the inspiration for what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Is like that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of I don't have anyone to go to. Because I was in a place where I was losing my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of felt like if I told anyone about it, like they would bastardize me, they would alienate me, they would, you know...
They'd be like, oh, this guy's crazy.
This guy's fucking insane. You know, and looking back on it, maybe they would have, you know, probably not though.
Everyone's a little crazy.
Everyone's a little crazy. I think when you're in that state though, everything feels like life or death.
Yeah.
Everything feels so intense. Like if you express something crazy to someone, it's gonna be like they're gonna fucking judge you, and they're gonna, you know, make you feel like you're way too different. But like in reality, like I told my dad recently, who had a heart attack, like he's fine now, but I was talking to him.
I wrote through that shit now. See, that's how we cope with shit.
Right, but like I talked to him recently, and I was like, hey Dad, you having a heart attack, I don't think I handled my emotions well with that, and I feel like I'm kind of in like a different state of mind where I don't feel too great, you know? And I was like, I said to him, I feel like I'm in a manic state, I feel like blah blah blah, and he's just like, oh, word? And it's like, I was fully expecting him to go like, Blaine, you need to go get some, no,
Yeah.
you need to go get some fucking help, you need to go to the doctor right now, but he's just like, whatever. And that nonchalantness low-key like made me feel a little bit better, you know, like I'm not,
like he didn't like overreact.
I was fully expecting an overreaction.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, sometimes when you need help, it's like, sometimes people try to do too much and it can make the situation worse.
Yeah.
If they're like, you know, like sometimes people do too much.
100%.
Like, and it's
lines.
like that a lot with parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're so worried about you that they are fucking toxic as hell about it, you know?
Right, yeah.
And it can ruin your relationship with your parent. Like, like, so, I don't know, it's important to just like, and I think honesty is like the start of like either fixing that or like building that good
honesty with yourself, honesty with others, honesty with the people that, you know, you find closest. That's where it all starts, I think. Like, living a high quality of a life is just like, you really need to be honest with yourself more than anything, and that's where it starts. Sure. Because and
you can't be mean to yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that's like your inner dialogue is important.
I think, positive self-talk. This is a good transition. I was watching this, I don't want to say podcast, but it was actually a lecture from Yale. It was like, what does he call whenever you go to like, whenever you're first going to college? Orientation. Yeah. So this teacher was giving an orientation, and I don't know exactly what he was lecturing about, like what his major was or like what his classes would have been, but it was talking about positive self-talk and like how important it is. And positive self-talk didn't really come around and was not like a real thing until about the 90s, believe it or not. Like, because you got to think about it, like times were tough, and most people, you know, you think about a man from the fucking 50s, the 40s, 60s, 70s, you know,
like a brick wall. There's like stone, like no emotion.
Right.
Deadpan.
Eating steak, beating his wife, and you know, drinking beer.
Yeah.
Or I mean, just like
it's like fighting in a war. Like there was like multiple
like
generations where like most of the men had to like fight in some crazy ass war and see their friends die.
Right, and that's the mindset you had to have, which was largely based off of stoicism, where you have to kind of just have no emotions and kind of like roll with the punches and not let things that you can't control affect your
it's like conservative values. The man has to be strong and like deal with all like whatever, and like the woman has to like do like the house
it has to be nurturing,
whatever, and like do that stuff.
Yeah. And so so positives are what is it called? Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence wasn't really around till the 90s. And
like as far as like something that people studied and like was a big
yeah.
thing. It was like Freud, maybe like was like some of the early like psychiatry, like when you take like a psychology class and like there's like Freud and like some other who were like the people who started thinking about like the brain and like the mental, like all that shit.
Right. Well, that's
abstract.
It is recent, but I think psychology branches off from philosophy in a lot of ways, which is like really cool. And so if you want to study, like you could say psychology wasn't really a respected study until the 1900s, but it really has been around since philosophy, which is,
since like I think therefore I am.
Right. Type shit.
I fuck with that.
And so, yeah. So this like openness, it makes sense why it's hard to be open with people around you whenever like emotional intelligence wasn't even really like a thing until recently, a respected science.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense why it's hard to open up, and especially for men, whenever we've had to be so stoic in the past, we have had to,
like we're products of those generations, like at the end of the day, like with like now the times are changing for sure, like, and it's more open, and definitely like people are pushing for like men to be more like they have like men's mental health like foundations and stuff, like
men's mental
and
health
men are far more plagued by suicide, and like we're hearing about that and that's being taught and like whatever, but still it's like it takes a long time to like really beat those kind of things, and I think you just want to like push for like a society where like everyone is like being as kind as they can be and like is as like comfortable as they can be, like to be who they are.
Yeah. And that's where that would be awesome if everyone could just be who they are. But like does that seem like it's going to happen anytime soon in your eyes? Could it happen anytime soon?
It's not, because like if you think about like religion and how like influential that is, and like there's billions of people that are like part of certain religions that are like conservative or like preach a certain set of values that like if you break can lead to like being ostracized from like your family, or like being viewed a certain way in your community,
right, or
like being criminally persecuted in certain countries,
for
being like LGBTQ or whatever, like so it's definitely like it's something that it's like a fluid situation, and there's like ebbs and flows to it. Like in the United States, you see like the Roe v. Wade thing gets like rolled back, and like it sets us back far with like women's rights and like healthcare and that stuff, and like
so you
we just
think
have to keep
it's
pushing
hard
in that
to,
direction. I think overall
it's hard to be yourself because there's outlying forces.
There's societal like
whether it be
things,
religion, political shit,
cultural values of a country or of a region.
It would. I think the world would be a much better place if everyone was themselves, but it just doesn't seem like it could happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's like safe havens and stuff for groups and stuff, but it's never gonna be perfect.
Right.
We're always gonna have like these problems.
From that lecture about emotional intelligence, there was a part where, and this is going to be a little bit of an abstract concept, where he talked about how it is impossible to be happy all the time, which
for sure.
Right, like most people would agree with. I think, why is it such an impossibility though? Like think about all the impossibilities that have happened. If we look back to caveman days, we look back to this. They never. I mean, the first man that created fire. That was impossible.
Yeah.
Things are so impossible until someone does it. Why do we set?
We're gonna teach y'all how to be happy all the time. Episode 1.
Exactly. Why do we set this bar? Say this is the amount of happiness that I can have, and if it exceeds this, it's just not real.
Well, I think like it's more about like, oh, you can't be happy all the time. Like, so let's say you were like, okay, we play Counter-Strike or like video games stuff. There's win conditions. Like, if we get the bomb down and we kill 2, and then it's like, we're in a 5v3, we have numbers, we have bomb down, it's playing it for us, like we have util, it's like we met our win conditions and we should win.
Right.
It's like you can have a set of things that makes you happy. These are your happy conditions. And you can reach all those things. If you keep reaching them every day, they're going to stop being your happy conditions, and that's just going to be your status quo. Like, that's your normal day now. Like, every day I make coffee, I I set it the night before to be ready in the morning. I don't do it every day necessarily. Like, some days I skip. Anyway.
Right.
So when I first started doing that, and this was kind of recent, like I was like happy. Like, ooh, I know I got that coffee waiting for me. Or when I first got my new chair, I was like, ooh, I get to sit in this new chair. It's very comfortable. But like after a week, after 2 weeks,
it's kind of like
that's like normal.
Right.
So that's always like the goalposts are always shifting with what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are really struggling in their early 20s or like in college. They're broke college student, and then when they get older, they have a really steady job and they make a lot of money. You get a different set of problems. You're worried about, is my kid doing well in school, or like, what's my 401k looking like? All the dumb, like, adult problems or whatever. Like, your goalposts are always going to shift. Like, in 8th grade, I was worried about, like, oh, like, does this girl, like me, my crush? Or, like, all that, you know, silly stuff. Like, and that, like we said at the beginning, is, like, that's world ending, or, like, these certain problems.
Right.
So, like, what makes you happy is always going to shift.
Yeah.
You know? It's going to shift with what your life is on a day-to-day.
Okay.
That's what I think.
You're saying what makes you happy, and this is something that I've like thought about a lot, which is like, what is happiness? What is like, what does that actually mean to be happy? What is it like? It doesn't have to be an elaborate definition by any means, but like, what does it mean to you to be happy?
It's a mic.
What does it mean to be happy?
For me,
yes,
that's a hard one. To be happy, I don't know. I guess it just means like being with people who you love, or like doing something you love, and like, you know, it being positive. I think like, and or just being comfortable and like not being worried about anything.
Right.
Comfort,
so comfort,
or
contentness
like, content.
That's
they go hand in hand.
If you look back, I did a little bit of research on this, and it's all the definitions always talk about contentness. You know, and okay. Contentness. That's what a lot of people say happiness is. But even contentness just feels so vague to me. I wish there was a concrete definition. And I kind of set you up there because it doesn't feel like...
I feel like it would just apply. It'd be person to person thing,
it's
right? It's
person to person. And that desperation for happiness is what's driven me to do things like this, to be creative, to, you know, try to like research this stuff, from emotional intelligence to happiness to psychology, philosophy, and it doesn't seem like there is an answer, or there ever will be an answer.
Yeah.
And
you know, I think
that's so interesting to me.
The thing in my mind, it's like it's so person to person, because like, you know, like those colorblind glasses, or when people get like cataract surgery, or people who were born with these things that can be treated, and like you take for granted your sense of sight, or your sense of smell, or your sense of hearing. Or during COVID, a lot of people lost their sense of taste. Like, they couldn't taste food.
That
and
sucks.
You forgot, like, damn, bro, I miss tasting food. And then when you get a taste again, it's like, oh, that makes me happy. Or, like, you see for the first time clearly. Or a baby gets, like, hearing aids, and he hears something, and he just, like, is full of joy. And it's like, wow, this thing that you took for granted, and, like, that is just normal operating procedure for us, to them, like, that brought them so much joy because they didn't have that. Someone who's going through like a deep struggle, just a day of peace and quiet and nothing bad happening is their version of happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone
with
definitely billions and billions of dollars, it's like they need to be on the motherfucking super yacht with the most expensive champagne, and they need this, like, and they need to get the next best thing, and like that maybe makes them happy in that moment. And it's kind of like fleeting, and I think that's the fleeting nature of happiness is like integral to what happiness is, right? Because you don't always have it, because then it wouldn't be happiness. That would just be like normal. And and one man's happy can be another man's bad day.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's very like relative.
It's a subjective.
Which also goes back to like the relative struggle thing. Subjective.
It changes per subject.
Bro thinks he's the thinker. 40 minutes in.
Bro, this is good.
Oh, we're cooking.
I need a breath. I think we got a good time.
Check the cam.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be every 15 minutes. So.
It wasn't going.
No.
Okay, see how long the videos are. It's okay.
12, 20, 12, 14.
Oh, we missed half of it.
Working out
All
the
right,
kinks.
Working out the kinks. So
Let's just take a second to breathe here. You know.
Yeah. So we did realize that the camera missed half of it, but we're just gonna freeze frame it on this moment. You will have already seen the freeze framing in action.
Yeah.
So.
Which happens.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's all about what we're saying. I mean, we're just here. Yeah, we do sit here and look pretty. Like but that's only a small part of our job.
That is true. That's
his
really
job.
smart.
I'm just the guest.
Just the guest for now, unless. Wait. Hold up.
All right, man. Let's get the contract.
Let's get the contract. But yeah, I think it's.
What if this goes viral? Hawk Tua Part 2. Hawk Tua.
Tua.
We're the new Hawk Tua.
Bro, wait. Say something iconic right now. Wait.
Hawk Tua.
No. Something iconic.
Blaney boy.
Yes.
Blaney boy, what you saying?
Bro, they missed the
There
stick.
it is. Blaney boy, what you saying?
But
That's the iconic. Blaney boy, what you saying?
what is
'Cause
my
you're always saying
response?
I don't know. That's up to you.
Some bullshit.
That's the podcast name. Blaney boy, what you saying?
Blaney boy, what you saying? Some bullshit. So, I want to talk about breathing. Have you breathed today?
I breathed all day.
How does it feel to breathe?
See, another thing we take for granted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is an abstract concept. Again,
Abstract.
I'm on
Man,
this
that's
fucking-
two. That's 2 in 1 podcast.
Yeah,
Slow down.
that's crazy.
Hey, slow down, man.
that I might have to save this one, but we're talking about happiness and how you're saying like one's man. What level of brain do you need to have to be happy? What level of consciousness?
Level 5 yacht. Sigma,
Level
Rizzler.
5 brain. Do you know what I'm saying though?
What level of brain? What do you mean?
Like, okay, let's
Wait,
say
repeat the
all right,
question. What level of brain do you need for what?
to have happiness, to be able to experience life in the.
I guess
in the
you
way
need
that-
just like basic sentience, like
Mhm.
you know, like 4 years old. I mean, a baby can be happy though. You know, a baby can
Right.
feel happiness. We don't.
What about?
He can't explain it to us, so we don't know as deep as like we would someone who can explain it well.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
but he can
feel that same feeling.
feel that dopamine hit. But is that all that happiness is? That's such like a.
I feel like it's like you can't have one without the other, and they both
Right.
like
It's
like chicken or the egg. It's like does the stimuli make me happy, or am I like, I don't know how to. I guess it's like you react to something. I mean, in the brain sense, like if you're just looking at the neuron level or whatever, no soul. It's like
it's
something
a product.
happens and like you process it, and it makes your brain feel that, like, you know, and it makes your brain feel the happy, the brain side of things that go along with the happy situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
So it
just
goes
hand in
it's
hand.
like you can't have
is
one without the other.
Yeah. Exactly.
They are a reaction, but they're always going to be the product of a certain
Yeah,
reaction
like we can
together.
have we
You
can have
can't
some
have them
gunpowder
without it.
right here,
Mhm.
but it's like it's not gonna do anything. It's gonna take like a lighter. It's gonna take like fire, and it's gonna react to that.
Right, and the explosion
Yeah.
is you can't have the explosion without the flames. There's
Or,
multiple
yeah.
stuff going. You also have the sound of the
Yeah,
explosion. They have to happen
react
together.
with each other.
An explosion's never not going to make a sound.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Ah, wait, where'd you learn that one?
Shit. School. I don't know. Where'd you go to school?
Thomas Jefferson.
And where are we right now?
Oh yeah, City Park. Do you want to
Wait.
know the inspiration behind being out here?
Yeah, tell me. I've been out here a lot in my childhood growing up, so it means a lot to be here. It means a lot.
Yeah, this is a special place, and it's not necessarily about it being City Park. It's more so about being outside, which I don't think we've talked about. Is we're outside right now. Where have you seen a podcast this quirky? Don't give an answer. Say I've never seen it.
I've never seen that.
Which is so different.
Man,
and
every
unique.
podcast is inside.
Like, what is
though?
that?
Like they'll do like, oh, this is the outside episode. It's like, and then they do it once.
Right. Like, why can't this be the basis? I think because it sets up for some pretty awkward recording scenarios.
I was
in
having
my
thoughts.
brain.
We're in City Park. We have plenty of people driving by, and there's people walking by and stuff.
We should
What
flip
if we like pulled one and like asked them a deep ass question and like got some crazy answer,
I'm down.
and then made that like the intro clip.
That would be
Like,
nuts.
what was the hardest time of your life?
Wait, we gotta do it.
Just milk this shit.
Milk it.
Oh, and we were looking at the BlaneyTalks video, with me and Crispy, and we're like, what can we do to like have like a fire thumbnail? what kind of because we want it to be like not too like algorithm milking, but we want it to be like organic, but at the same time like still something someone would click on.
100%. Yeah. And I didn't think about any of that whenever I posted that first video. It was more so just like, I just want to, I think a big part of this was like, fuck it. I have someone that wants to participate. I have a camera. I have a table. We got chairs. Let's get out there and fucking do it.
It's better to just do it.
Right. Instead of going, oh, I need, and this is something that you would relate to in the creative process where you want everything to be perfect.
Yeah. Like I want every plugin. I want the $1,000 mixing equalizer thing. It's going to make me sound better. But at the same time, you just need to work with what you have in the moment. And then learn with that, and then that's will result you in being the best. Like that was some of the best advice I got. Not to yap here and cut you off, but like, if you're like a musician, if you're like a filmmaker, or if you're an artist, like you don't need the state of the art thing. Like you can make some like raw ass shit, like with nothing. Like X made distorted, shitty music, like or shitty sounding, shitty mixed music, and it was like amazing. And that's what like hits about it. Like you're not like. That's not what's going to make you better. The nice camera doesn't make you into fucking Quentin Tarantino. Like,
right.
That's not what makes him him. Like, you need the vision, and, like, you can execute it with, like, what you have in the moment, and it's still going to result in you growing. And so when you get that next thing, it's just going to level you up that much more.
And I feel like part of that, executing it with what you have, is, like, kind of, like, it is an art form in itself, you know? Like, making it happen can put, like, some artistic twist on it. Like you look at like certain music videos and they're just filming this HD super high quality thing, but then you see someone record on like a 2010 camera or like
people
camera
get old camcorders on purpose now.
Right.
It's cool
because it's so edgy,
like,
so indie.
It just looks like it looks raw. It looks like it has an
what
aesthetic
is that word?
to it. It has an aesthetic to it.
And
there's a vibe to it.
And so hopefully this has a vibe to it, you know, or it doesn't. We're just
no
gonna
aura.
talk. No aura. Wait, you think we're radiating?
Wait, what are you gonna call this podcast? Do you have like the official big boy title?
I don't know.
Is it the BlaneyTalks podcast?
Something like that.
That's good, like BlaneyTalks.
It doesn't. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Are you gonna separate like the you just walking solo videos from the podcast? Is a different thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have guests on every episode.
I think I'll do guests on every episode.
Yeah, because then like, so it can be something different than like the BlaneyTalks walk. It should be like Blaney walks and it's just you, and then BlaneyTalks is the podcast.
Blaney walk. That's
I'd be
brilliant.
like 2,000. You can give me, and you can have those ideas type shit. So, all right. So what's the next topic on your little?
Okay. Oh, this is a big one, and you've mentioned her a few times, right? Crispy.
Oh wait, I said I was gonna glaze Crispy on this.
No. That's
Crispy,
what we're here for. I wanna wait.
Crispy's my girlfriend, and she's the goat, and she's like really helped my emotional intelligence grow.
Yes.
It's insane. Like, and me just grow as a person. Like, I'm like way better than I was before I was with her.
How long have y'all been dating?
So we've been together as of July 4th, 3 years. That was our 3-year anniversary, and like, so that's my longest relationship. And like, I've definitely like been like the most open, the most honest, like the most myself in this relationship. And like, and you know the part that no one wants to talk about, I guess, maybe with things like that is like, sometimes the best person for you is going to be the person who like challenges like the things that you don't do right. So like, I've never had a girlfriend like really like not step to me, but like just like be like have like arguments. Like in previous relationships, it was like very passive and just like not a lot of communication, and that wasn't good. Like it led to like us not talking a lot. Like, and we lived in different places, and like it just wasn't great. Like, but in this relationship, it's like we like sometimes love is like can be hard, and there's hardships, and like I've had to like be a better person, and she's had to be a better person to like be with each other. Like, you know,
there's
what I mean?
a lot of growth. There's a lot of growth
like,
in.
So like we're both learning like what like our, sometimes we're both learning like what our deepest traumas are, because that can result that can come out with the people you're closest to,
right?
Like
100%.
like, so like we're both very good at being like, yeah, I think I feel this way because like of this that like happened, and like that's why I'm like lashing out, or like that's why it's this, or that's why I'm reacting so adversely to this like conversation, is because it's sensitive.
Right.
It's sensitive for this reason.
Yeah, it's sensitive because of traumas that I've experienced in the past, and
yeah,
I think a relationship can have very large consequences on growth.
Sure.
Like good, bad. If it's done in the right way, I think it can be really good. That doesn't mean that it's I think what people don't realize is it's not the person that you're with, but the commitment that you're willing to make to that person. And so it may be, that's paradoxical in the sense that I might not be willing to make a commitment to X, Y, and Z, you know, but if I do make that commitment to anyone, like I can be able to grow. If I'm able to be
y'all
honest.
both have to, like you said, be honest, like you were just saying. What were you saying?
You have to be honest. Is that what I was saying?
Yeah. I was literally about to say that. Like, you read my mind. Like, I think being honest and like communicating, like if you're gonna really be, like you said, committed to that person, and if y'all are both equally committed, it's like you're gonna get into the weeds. You're gonna get into the dark parts of each other, and like you have to be able to like unpack that, and like, and the other person has to be committed to like dealing with my lows, and I'm committed to dealing with your lows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna ditch you when things aren't going well for you, and I hope you wouldn't do that to me. Like,
right.
Because then you're not really in it, like, and you're not really committed. And to have like a fruitful relationship that lasts like forever, or like lasts, you know, like a soulmate type thing, like you need to both be like view each other like
as a
in
tool.
good faith. You can't hate your significant other. You can't hate your significant other.
No,
like, but you have to be able to tell them when you're like not okay with what they're doing. At the same time.
100%.
Like out of love.
I think building resentment is the number one relationship
killer.
Yeah. Like if you are sitting there going, why is she doing this? Why is she doing this? Oh, it's pissing me off. This is a big one. Whenever, you know, we've all had it happen. Why haven't you asked me how my day was? You know, why haven't you? And instead of getting upset with someone for like not asking how your day is, and this is like a baby concept, but being able to be like, hey, like I would appreciate it if...
You want to check the camera?
Yeah, I'll check.
I know what you're saying though.
You look so handsome.
Am I radiating?
Yeah, 12, 17.
No, y'all are perfect. What are y'all up to?
Photo shoot, homecoming.
Nice.
That's exciting. Podcast?
Yeah, it's the first episode.
Right, I'm gonna get to social media or something.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
bet.
Yeah, hit him up.
All right, where are we at?
You were saying, asking how your day was and stuff.
Yeah.
That
exchange. So it can go from like, why the fuck didn't you ask me how my day was today? Why are you like do you not think about me?
Yeah.
Do you not care about me? Whenever like if someone approaches that question with, hey, like I would really appreciate it if you were able to talk to me a little more about how what I'm doing, what I'm up to. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel heard.
Exactly.
As you know.
And I'll say something like with me personally is like we'll kind of get there. Like it'll be like I'm kind of lacking in like my like
certain areas
in my part as a partner in like some ways, and then it's like I'll be confronted on that, and I'll like kind of like get angry or
defensive.
like I'll get extremely defensive, and it's because like if I'm going through something, but then like you get mad at the person. It's like it's because I'm going through something. Like can't you tell? It's like how, and then it's like how are they supposed to know? It's
right.
like, I didn't tell them.
Right.
And so it's like it's coming out in this way, which is not like the way it should. You know, I should be telling them like we should be crossing that bridge when we get to it instead of me unpacking it and like saving it for when they need support.
Right.
You know, because that's like not good. You don't want to be like
reactive.
You know what I mean? You don't want to only tell them that you're going through it when they like notice it because it's affecting them in a negative way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's such a shitty feeling. You're like, someone calls you out on something and now you're like attacking them.
Yeah, you're like, well, I'm going
what
through
about
this.
me?
It's like you didn't say
bro,
it. You should have said something.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I've done that, and I think that's like a part of like
it's hard.
why you need to have good communication, be honest and committed to that honesty. So you're not like exploding,
right?
Or you're not letting it build up and like turn into something way bigger, or like letting this like little thing like turn into like a big fight. You know, it's because you were like harboring some pain or like something you're going through, and you didn't weren't open with them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, let's say in that situation where they ask, like, why didn't you ask how my day was? If you, like, lead with, like, oh, I've had such, like, a rough day, like, da-da-da, and you tell them, like, how you're feeling, then, like, they're not going to be like, oh, why didn't you ask how my day was? Because they know you're going through something.
Right.
So you're, like, kind of...
You're kind of... Like, excuses can be bad, too, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because
it can't be forever, because, like, at that point, you need to, like, kind of figure it out on yourself. If you're persistently bringing your partner down, then like
you're conditioning them to.
You need to like solve it on your own, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if y'all aren't like a net positive in each other's life, then like you have to consider things like after a certain point in time. Like, you can, and there's definitely like, if something were to happen, like you don't just like leave your partner high and dry when shit hits the fan, like we were saying. Like, it's not that. It's more like if someone can't grow or can't learn from their mistakes, then it's like you can't just keep excusing that like forever.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
That's like that ripping that Band-Aid off and moving on. But for people out there that
it's hard to do,
might be going through something like that where they feel like they've been stuck for so long and you've tried to communicate, and once you communicate you're getting a negative reinforcement such as defensiveness and this, obviously you know more than anyone else. I mean, don't listen to advice from a stranger, but you know more than anyone else. If you aren't able to communicate, then it's going to lead to a negative outcome, and you got to know when to walk away from that.
Yeah.
What time are we at? Fuck, I gotta go.
We're at like 58 minutes.
That's good.
Audio.
So we send it?
In conclusion, be honest with yourself, with your feelings. Smash the like button and subscribe as well. BlaneyTalks and Blaney Walks. There's been plenty to come. This guy's, he's a real one, and he's a good influence in my life. Like, to be honest and talk about stuff. Like, no one's really been as like there's been a few people, that are like pushed for me to like be myself, and like that have been like what's it called, like mentors in that way. Like my roommate, like Big H, like he was so influential in like me just chasing like what I want to do and like living for me. Because like you can live for like a lot of people live for their parents and do like they want you to be a lawyer, so you just be a lawyer. And it's like I was like on that path, and so like he really just pushed me to like live, because you just gotta live like it's your last day, and like live like this is your only life. Like we don't know what like the afterlife brings us, and I'm like a spiritual person, I believe in more, but like still you need to like treat this life like, and treat every day like with the most purpose, and like every day is so important. Every day is a blessing that you wake up, you know what I mean? Like that's what I think. Talking about happiness, talking about all that stuff, like that drives me to be happy, no matter how bad my money is, no matter how bad my job is, no matter like I could have had the hardest day, like, cried, I could have sobbed, like like things are going horrible with the family, or like there's family problems, there's relationship problems, like, but then like even in all of that, like I still have this feeling of like, I'm here, this experience is valid, and like it's the good and the bad that make life what it is. And like I can try to have an appreciation for it, because like I am blessed with like a roof over my head and food, so like it's easy to like contextualize the struggle, like, and just try to process it as best I can. But I could be a lot better with like being open with my emotions.
That's where it starts.
Here, it's
open
like,
with yourself first.
I feel like there's so much I could say, and like it just makes me realize that like I need to talk more about it. And like this podcast and like this like thing that you're doing is just a good idea. It's like helped to me just in this one conversation.
100%. So,
I've had a great time.
That's fucking awesome, man. That's what we're here for. We want to make it comfortable, even though it is uncomfortable at times, no matter what.
It can be scary.
I think that might be my superpower, is being able to go up to anyone in the world and just like tell them exactly how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that's not because because I put in the work, and because I put such a high importance on it. Whether it's, we need to teach people that it is important to express your emotions and to talk about these things with friends, family, and to yourself, and to not like bring yourself down because you're going through something. It's all super important. But live your day. Quote of the day: live every day like live this life like whenever you die. there's a man. He goes, "Were you true to yourself?"
He was like, "Someone cooked here."
Someone, right. How do you want that person to observe it? Not in a God, Jesus kind of way, but
let's say you were looking back at your own life.
Right, looking back at your own life, do you want to be proud of that, or do you want to say, "I didn't live to my truest potential"?
Yeah, you just want to say, "I stayed true to myself. I was me," and like
Amen.
Kindness. Be kind.
What should be
kind.
Be kind.
I like that. All right, he's got to go. He's got a soccer game.
Soccer game. We're cooked, buddy.
Oh my God, I can't end the recording.